Hello everyone. So, um, I just got out of surgery a couple of days ago, so I'm not going to be able to be in front of the camera, but I wanted to talk about this situation here with these two people. Um, I'm not generally one for gossip or for engaging in it or indulging in it or getting into it, but I actually am familiar with these two people. If you don't know who they are, the person on the left is Ned Fulmer, and the person on the right is Alexandria. Um, they both work, well, one of them still works for the Try Guys. Alex on the right works for the Try Guys, and Ned on the left doesn't anymore. So, yeah, I just wanted to give my perspective on this because I have watched the Try Guys. I do um, enjoy their videos, and one of the things I like about them is that they're not transphobic, they're not homophobic, they're not racist. Um, you know, their their channel is kind of a place where you don't have to worry about that kind of content coming through. Um, although the person on the left, Ned, has said some things, questionable things in the past. Um, so that's one thing. But why am I talking about these two? Well, Ned and Alex, they're embroiled in a controversy right now. If you're not aware, the Try Guys is a group of four guys who they try things, but their videos are um, there's some variety. They cook things without a recipe, and it's all done in kind of a fun comedic manner, and it's not meant to be taken too seriously. And so they have their own company, and the four main principal Try Guys are the um, owners of the company. They started originally on BuzzFeed, and then they branched off into doing their own thing. And well, uh, Alex on the right was one of their producers. Now, the thing about Ned Fulmer is that he's one of these guys who he the identity that he created for himself online was uh, a husband and a father. That was the totality of his identity on the internet. You know, that's what he would, as some people would say, he's the my wife guy. Um, he would always talk about his wife, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But Ned cheated on his wife with Alex, and and Ned and his wife have two kids, and apparently the relationship between these two has been going on for some time. And news of this broke, um, I think it was last week, and I was in Spokane, um, and recovering from surgery and that kind of thing. So I couldn't comment on this until now. I definitely wanted to comment on it beforehand, but the only reason I would ever touch a subject like this is because I'm familiar with the people involved. I don't know them personally, of course. I've seen them on Try Guys videos and whatnot. So um, the Try Guys have since this information went viral, the Try Guys themselves have released a statement. They actually fired Ned from the company, uh, and which in and of itself is an extremely complicated thing to do, because he's one of the co-owners of the company. Um, but basically, they fired him uh, for an ethics violation because Ned was Alex's boss, and there's a very uneven power dynamic there. Um, you know, uh, a lot of well, we'll get into that in a minute, but yeah, these two had had a relationship for a long time, and just recently they had actually gone to a concert together in public. Now, I mean, everywhere these guys go, the Try Guys, people want to talk to them. They want to interact with them. They know them. Somebody invariably somebody somewhere will know them, and especially now, um, now that the news of this whole thing has gone viral. Uh, so for for these two to go to a concert together, and a concert with a musician that's extremely popular with their demographic, it's just, and then afterwards, um, they went to a club and they were seen and videoed and subsequently uh, photographed making out in public in a club after going to a concert together. And with how flagrant it was, how just in your face it was, it makes me wonder if they actually wanted to get caught. At the very least Ned, because he had so much to lose. I mean, he's got a wife, children, an extremely lucrative um, job. You know, the Try Guys, I mean, Ned specifically, he and his wife had a deal with Target. The store, Target stores, had a deal with them. Um, they had a book that they'd written, a date night cookbook. Um, and the Try Guys had just started on, they had a show on the Food Network. And they had all this stuff going on, and that's just the stuff that Ned and his wife have going. That's not to mention any of the stuff that any of the other Try Guys have going on. They have a lot of irons in the fire, and this guy, Ned Fulmer, made his entire brand like basically what a wholesome, great, wonderful father and husband he was. The fact that he was married and had two kids was his whole brand. This kind of wholesome image. And he, of all people, is the one who gets caught cheating. And not just cheating, but cheating with someone who works for him. I mean, ethically, it's a mess. And I mean, where's all that? Where is his brand now? He's no longer in the Try Guys, even though I think I think still on his Twitter it says that he's the official dad of the Try Guys, and he's not a Try Guy anymore. Um, you know, where's his deal with Target? Where's his book deal? Where's his marriage? You know, I mean, Jesus Christ. I I find it hard to believe that either of these two people would be so stupid as to go out in public together, knowing that they would be recognized. I'm guessing Ned just has a lot of problems, and we don't know the power dynamics involved, so we can't say what Alex's motivations were. Was it her job? Did he pressure her? Um, did he did he promise her certain things? Um, did did that happen at all? Did it not happen? Did she just do it willingly? And Alex herself has been in a relationship with someone for 10.5 years. So she threw away all of that. Um, Her reputation with her her colleagues is now tarnished. Ned's reputation is complete shit, and now whatever the situation with Alex was, now a good chunk of the internet and the world knows her as the other woman, and we know how destructive that can be in our society. And on the Try Guys um, um, podcast, they mentioned that certain people have gotten death threats, and that's really concerning to me. Why would you threaten death upon someone you don't know because they had an affair? They cheated on their wife, whom you don't know. Please don't send people fucking death threats. It's not your life. It's not your. That doesn't help anything. I just, yeah. And Alex is a producer on the Try Guys, but she is still basically a subordinate of Ned, and so that is where the power dynamic comes in, and it's very important to consider that for all the reasons that I mentioned previously and other things that I haven't mentioned. Um, Now, at this point where I'm coming to this, the Try Guys have taken action. They have removed Ned from the company. Alex, to my understanding, still works for them. Um, and they went through a lot. They called lawyers. They called PR experts. They called, you know, they spent the last month because they knew about this early in September. And the story really broke in late September. And so they've gone back and edited Ned out of more recent videos, um, and there are certain videos that they can't remove him from because they're sponsored videos and this kind of thing. And that's the thing. Something like this, some people treat it as though it's just uh, oh well, okay, so big deal. Two people cheated. That happens all the time. Why are the Try Guys making such a big deal out of it? Why did they fire him? Because one, it's an ethics violation. it's morally reprehensible for a boss who has uh, influence over a subordinate. It's a moral. Um, it's immoral for a boss to date a subordinate because of the inherent um, inequities there in terms of power. Um, so, you know, and I'll get into this a little bit later, but Ned said he released a statement. The Try Guys released a statement and a couple of videos since, but their first statement was that Ned Fulmer no longer works with the Try Guys and blah blah blah. And they've removed him from some videos. But Ned's statement, in it, he says that that he was engaged in a consensual work relationship. So I read that, you know, people have made kind of a big deal out of it. Um, but I think that that's Ned's way of legally trying to cover his ass for that aforementioned power ethics violation of the power dynamic issue. You know, um, saying it's consensual is just his way of trying to get ahead of people's, you know, having concerns over him possibly influencing Alex to engage in this relationship. That's how I read it anyway. Um, so, you know, this guy builds his whole brand of as being a father and a husband, and then he goes and he cheats. And Alex, assuming that she was not coerced into engaging in this relationship with him, she threw away a relationship of 10 plus years and potentially her job. We don't know yet. Potentially, I mean, her reputation, sadly, has been damaged by this. Um, uh, Alex works with one of the other um, staff members at uh, the Try Guys, um, named YB, and they do a show together, the Food Babies. And it's just them two. They are the Food Babies. Well, YB no longer follows Alex on social media. She doesn't follow Ned either. And YB actually released a statement saying she no longer associates with these two people. And it's like, you know, it's so sad that everybody now has to do this. You know, they have to distance themselves from these people or risk being labeled as potentially a collaborator, you know, or someone who gives their tacit approval of this relationship. And I understand why people would think that, um, and I understand people's reactions to this. You know, except for the whole death threat thing, I definitely don't understand that. But you know, it's just so strange. Oh well, maybe not. You know, I mean, did these people do they love each other? I don't know. I mean, Ned's statement seems to suggest that he doesn't. You know, he was. I mean, he dropped her like a hot potato. You know, after everybody found out, which in and of itself is. I mean, I understand why he would do that. You know, to try and save his image and maybe possibly his marriage. But I mean, it's pretty gross. You know. the whole thing is just a really fucked up situation. And the damage caused, from their relationship, it's like ripples in a pond. They just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I wish I could say that that wasn't the case, but it sadly is. You know, um, that's just kind of how the world works. Um, Part of the reason that um, people have had such a visceral reaction to this is the kind of parasocial relationship that can be established um, between viewers and celebrities, to whatever extent these people are celebrities. Um, they're known by quite a few people. They have, I think, 7 million followers on YouTube, subscribers, and I obviously I make YouTube videos, and I have people who like my stuff and who follow me, and um, who have reached out to me, and we've talked, and I understand that kind of relationship from both sides. Parasocial relationships, I'm not going to get into whether or not they're healthy, but they exist. They come about naturally, and there are, I think, healthy ways of dealing with that relationship, and there are unhealthy ways, just as with anything else. And I think it's I'm not going to shame someone for unknowingly or unwittingly establishing that kind of relationship, because a lot of people don't do it intentionally. They don't go out and say, I'm going to become emotionally connected to this person whom I do not know. It's just something that happens. So, but it's that kind of relationship really is what creates, is what makes situations like this get so huge. Um, okay, so what are the legal repercussions from Ned's cheating? The book deal, the merchandise, the deal with Target. If it's all built around him being part of a couple, um, will these various corporations want to work with a man who cheats on his wife, uh, with whom he has 2 young kids? His brand was that kind of wholesome, you know, um, upper middle class husband and dad. You know, where's where's the deal with Target, the book deal, the merchandise? Where's all that now? How does that affect his wife's ability? And what about his wife's reputation? You know, how does that affect her ability uh, to make money from these various deals? Are there any legal repercussions from that? Um, Basically, how does that tarnish his image in the eyes of those corporations with whom he has various marketing deals? Um, and add to that his image with the public. His image with the fans is now shot. Um, the public at large, those who know about this and who followed it, um, they only know him as the cheating try guy. You know, an image like this is how they know him. You know, um, and certainly that's not going to be worth very much after all this. It's going to die down eventually, and it'll probably burn out rather quickly. I give it another couple of weeks, and then people will move on. That seems to be the pattern. Um, Yeah. The repercussions from this are just huge. So I mentioned how um, out in the open they were eventually. We know that, I mean, the term consensual workplace relationships suggests that this has been happening for a long time. The Try Guys themselves, Keith and Zach, they acknowledged that. Yes, it had been going on for some time because Ned had told them that. Um, so they'd been able to keep it a secret, even from their coworkers, for this long. So why all of a sudden would they, with all of these irons in the fire, with all of this stuff going on, with all of the potential fallout that we're now seeing, why would they flaunt it? Why would they go out in public? Is Ned psychologically undermining his own relationship as a means of getting out of it? Did he want out of his marriage? Did Alex want out of her relationship? Either way, um, Ned Fulmer is wildly irresponsible. Um, and I think that's an understatement. I mean, it's just, he ruined his reputation. He ruined his relationships. He ruined his ability to make money. And he possibly ruined Alex's ability to make money. Now, again, she's an adult. She made her own decisions, and hopefully she was not coerced um, in any way. I think at a certain point you do need to take responsibility for your actions, and I think that if she had been coerced, if Ned had tried to coerce her, one would think she could go to the other Try Guys and say, hey, this is what's happening, because the reason that the Try Guys can't come out and talk about certain things directly and talk about Ned and what a fucking idiot he is and what a fucking asshole he is for doing all this shit is because they're legally prevented from doing so. That's the kind of thing that people don't realize. Is that you say the wrong thing in public as a public figure and you can get sued. And you can get sued for a lot. So, one of the things that Ned said was that he talked about his family. As usual, the guy uses his family as kind of a, my family should have been my focus the whole time. Well, yeah. He says his family is so important to him. I I don't know what it's like to make a marketing deal with someone. I don't know what it's or a corporation. I don't know what it's like to do these kinds of things. I've never had to sign any kind of ethics clause, which I would imagine that Ned has had to do that. Um, and he was he was like kind of the business manager of the Try Guys. And so one would think that he, more than anybody, would understand the ramifications and the consequences of what he was doing. I mean, if his family was truly that important, he wouldn't have cheated. If there was something going wrong in his marriage, and if his family was that important to him, he wouldn't have cheated on his wife. And endangered that marriage and possibly made his children, you know, be children of divorce, he would have just gone to a marriage and family therapist. You know, if they were that important. And I think that's one of the things that really pisses people off, is that he sold the public on this idea of him. And that kind of brings in that, again, that parasocial relationship. But um, his statement just reeks of so much insincerity. Out of everyone whom is affected by this, um, I feel so bad for Ariel, Ned's wife, and his kids. Um, Ariel has to live with the trauma of not only her husband of many years having cheated on her, but the entire internet uh, hearing about it and following it in real time. Um, that in and of itself is a traumatic event. Um, I mean, when someone cheats on you, the natural reaction is to feel inadequate. And, you know, that feeling, you know, when your family finds out or your friends find out, and you feel just so awful. You feel like 2 inches tall, you know, because you feel inadequate and you feel that other people are going to view you that way. Um, well, imagine that being magnified by several million times. Millions of people finding out that your husband cheated on you. I mean, that's got to be hard, to put it mildly. And I mean, I wish that I could go and say I'm sorry, you know, and you know, just try to make her feel better, because it I can't imagine how hard this is. Um, you know, and the kids, when they get older, they're going to be able to look this up on the internet. You know, I can't know. My parents were divorced when I was very young. I don't know exactly what happened, but Ned and Ariel's kids can look it up when they get old enough. And that's going to be a hard thing for them. Some people have reacted um, to certain statements that Ariel has made regarding her relationship with Ned. Oh, she better not take him back, and this kind of thing. You know, I think we need to disassociate and just be supportive as a collective. You know, as society, we need to just say, what, you know, she knows more than we do. She is invested more than we are. She has more to lose regarding whatever decisions she makes. And I think that all of us just need to, whatever she decides, just be nice and just be supportive. Um, because it's her decision, and she knows a hell of a lot more about this situation than any of us do. Okay, so let's talk about um, the commentary from the Idiot Brigade. Uh, okay, so I'm going to talk now more about the power dynamic situation and some of the problems inherent with that, and why it was important for the Try Guys to fire Ned specifically. So I've seen a couple of videos from some of the dumbest people on the internet, and they've come out to defend Ned Fulmer and Ned's cheating. You know, if your defenders are not only the dumbest people on the internet, but those who whine about being canceled, quote unquote, then you know that you've done something horrible. These idiots will say, it's not illegal to sleep with your boss, or for a boss to sleep with an employee. It is, however, an ethics violation, and it creates a power imbalance and a liability not only for the boss, but for the boss's company. Because if the subordinate decides to sue the company due to the bosses pressuring them into a relationship, whether true or not, it creates a big legal hassle for that company. I mean, that's why there are ethics clauses. It's so companies like Second Try LLC can fire Ned for cause. It's pretty fucking simple to figure out. You know, I'm not a corporate lawyer. I'm not any kind of lawyer, but Alex could potentially sue the company. So could Ned. I mean, you know, the Try Guys themselves talked about how they had to spend the last month talking to lawyers every few hours. You know, if it was just as simple as two people cheating, well, then they wouldn't have had to do that, would they? Also, you know, if cheating is no big deal to you, then you're a piece of shit. And you yourself are probably a cheater. You know, I mean, if I did something wrong and everybody found out about it, and let's say it was something really wrong that actually was bad, and I had people coming out to defend me for doing that bad thing and saying that that bad thing is just not a big deal, you know, I'd feel even worse. I mean, God. When the only people coming to your defense are the dregs of society, you know you've really fucked up. So, yeah. Unfortunately, this is a thing that happens. And, you know, people sometimes will do things which not only hurt themselves, but hurt everyone else around them. You know, it's like those assholes who go out in the middle of a pandemic and refuse to wear a mask because of their quote-unquote freedom. They don't care if they get coronavirus. They don't care if they pass that coronavirus on to other people. They just care about themselves. These two people, assuming again that Alex was not pressured into a relationship, these two people, whether knowingly or not, through their relationship, hurt a lot of other people. You know, this was kind of one of those perfect storm situations. You know, he did everything wrong. He not only did he cheat on his wife, which is bad enough, but he cheated on his wife. Not only did he cheat on his wife, but he cheated on his wife uh, with someone he works with. He and someone who not only he works with, but who is his subordinate. I mean, you couldn't have done it any worse. You couldn't have made it any worse. And I'm sure that because, in part because Ned's entire brand was the wife guy, um, I'm sure that if he had cheated with someone outside of the office, um, and people had found out about it, I'm sure that the Try Guys probably would have fired him anyway. Because, the Try Guys, Keith and Zach and Eugene and their partners are all friends with Ariel and Ned. You know, they're all kind of connected in that way, kind of like a family. And so I don't know, but I can imagine, given the things they've said, their patterns, I can imagine that they would have a problem with that. They would have a problem with Ned cheating because it makes the Try Guys look bad. You know, people go, oh, well, they associate with this guy who cheated on his wife. And then that tarnishes their brand. You know, um, it's like if a big company uh, creates some kind of merchandising or sponsorship deal with someone who has uh, who says something awful. That, let's just use Target because we talked about them. If Target creates a relationship, a working relationship with some celebrity, and that celebrity says something horrible, that can negatively impact Target. And so Target would drop them as a spokesperson or representative. It's the same thing. And that's why they had to fire him either way. So it's too bad that these people are suffering. It's too bad that they didn't consider the consequences of their actions. Again, assuming that Alex was not coerced. And I just feel really bad for Ariel, for her kids, and for everybody else involved. And it's true. Ned really does love bad ideas. Anyway, that's it. I think it'd be best if we just let these people alone. I know I'm kind of contributing to it, but I'm trying to be as empathetic and kind and compassionate as I can. I think it would be great if we could all do that. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody.